Hello and welcome to I Am Organic Gardening, located in Zone 6B in the state of New Jersey. And welcome to a fantastic new garden series called Soil, How to Grow Nutrient-Dense Fruits and Vegetables. And I would like to wish all of you out there a very happy and joyful gardening season that is going to be delicious for us all once again. In this garden series, I want to explore what is soil and why do we fear it so much, and all the claims out there that is just putting us off on the wrong track all the time. So here I am at the beginning of my kitchen garden. Now I have 8 raised beds in here without any borders on it. They're simply just raised mounds over the top of the soil that's existing out here. And I have some wood chip pathways in between each one. There are about 8 of them, and they measure anywhere from 7 to 8 feet wide and about 50 feet long. Now, to understand what soil is, there's always a definition of it. I think the best way to show you what soil is what I've learned over the years by other people teaching me, is to do this little test. So this is the very first definition I found on Google. Soil is a noun, and it's the upper layer of the earth in which plants grow, a black or brown material typically consisting of mixture of organic remains, clay, and rock particles. Now if we go over here and click on the Wikipedia description, which I'll do, that's going to open this up, and then we'll get the bigger view, and this states soil is a mixture of organic matter, minerals, gases, liquids, and organisms that support life. So this is the key point I want to talk about here, is about the life in that soil, in our minerals, that is going to exude all those nutrients out of it and feed our plants. But it has to have and be together, that organisms together support that life of the soil. So here I have a very large clear plastic jar with a lid on it. Now I'm going to take a large soil sample. Now you can take it all over your garden, but I just want to explain to you what really soil is and what you're looking at. Because a lot of people over the years have asked the question, is I have a lot of this in my soil compared to this, but all soils don't need to have exactly equal proportions of everything. Now I want to show you how the breakdown is in the soil, and then I'll be explaining it later on. But right now let's grab a sample, a large sample, and place it inside this jar, and then we're going to add some water. And when you start digging up your soil sample, make sure you can get some of those worms out of the way. In here, you can see them pretty good. We'll get these out of the way and put them back in the ground. Here's something I'd like to share with you that just came up by just digging in the ground. Now we can see all through here, all these nice little wormholes are in there. But the thing is to keep in mind is that, why do worms make holes? One is to travel, but the most important thing is they need air. Everything in this garden series that I'll be talking about needs 3 things for sure. It needs air, water, and food to survive, just like us. Now here we have a good amount of soil in our jar here. I filled it about, maybe, let's say, 1/4 of the way up. And also, since I'm out here, I want to share this other test with you. I have here is a long 4-foot fiberglass rod. It's actually a driveway marker that we put at the edge of the driveway where the grass is, so we know where the grass is so we don't plow into it in the wintertime. Now, I'm going to just take this driveway marker. Now, also too, the best time to do this is in the pre-winter time, before the ground freezes and your soil is adequately has enough moisture in it. Now I just want to see here, let's go to this spot here. Now we're just going to take this fiberglass rod and try to push it in by hand here, how far down we can go until we hit, let's say, a very, now I'm just pushing it by hand here. Now let's grab it out. Now you can see here, let's open this up more, that where my finger starts here, all this went in the ground. Now basically, we're talking at least 2 feet that it actually went into the soil. And that's another good way to check if you have a hard pan in your soil anywhere you want to. So just by simply inserting a small 1/4 inch round rod, it could be steel or anything else too, into the soil, you'll know how good your soil is, or where your hard pan is, or anything else, and if you're really actually building or growing soil. Now we're going to take our jar here, we're underneath the water faucet, add water. Now we want to add water about the same amount that the soil's in there. You want to definitely cover it, and you want to go up about an extra 2 inches. Like so. Now we have one beautiful mess. Now we're going to put the lid on and shake it. Now we've taken that jar plenty of times and gave it a good shake to the left and right and broken all those soil particles apart. And now we're going to let everything settle. Now to truly see it very clearly, we're going to come back to this about 24 hours later when everything has settled down, and then I'll explain what's inside the jar. Now, since we have to wait for that jar to settle down, I wanted to explain to you what soil is not. Now, again, I understand that a lot of people buy this and you might get mad at me, but this is not soil. Does it work? Yes. Does it hold the plant roots firmly in place? Yes. Is it lightweight? And what else do we do? Because all the other natural soil we have is very heavy, but this is a bale of our regular, everyday common potting or growing mix. Now it clearly states it on there. Now I want to explain, it's not showing that this is a bad product, but I want to show you that it's never really soil. Now even if you add in minerals to it, it's still pretty much not soil. Now I want to go back over that very key point that I just said. In this, that's why gardening is so hard to understand, because when you use this type of product, you have to add minerals or amendments to that for it to work. But when you have real, natural, native soil in your area, that is truly soil. And that is a living part of this planet. And this will always give you the best results and the most, and that's what the title is about, the most nutrient dense food, because it is a way that nature has developed it to enhance that product that you're growing in the ground to do the right thing. That plant has adapted itself to this growing condition, not to that bale of peat moss. Now here's a label on the side of the bag explaining what's inside. So the contents, you can see clearly here, are 75 to 85% Canadian sphagnum peat moss, horticultural grade perlite, and limestone. I also wanted to take notice, the last thing I just said is the limestone. When you have artificial soil, you have to control the pH with limestone, and you have to regulate it all the time. And you have to check it pretty much every 2 to 3 weeks because it will leach out of the soil. In nature or natural soil or your native soil, you do not have to do this. The reason why for that is because something called the soil food web regulates the nutrients it's breaking down. Because what it is, things are being eaten and released, and what the plant is doing is sending a signal to that soil food web to exactly what it needs. Now we are taking over in an artificial product like this. We're taking over that responsibility. When we have the limestone in there, we have to do that, and we have to check what the plant needs all the time. The plant will automatically, and has automatically done this since day one, since that plant has grown in that soil. It has done it on its own. But again, when we use fake soil, or let's say soilless mix, or whatever you want to call this, there's so many names out there, that you have to regulate it with lime. And just to give you an idea what this product looks like, This is a compressed bale. Now, it's not going to hurt anything here. Now again, remember, this is not soil, but this here is perlite. That's the little white flakes in here, and the rest is the sphagnum peat moss, Canadian peat moss, and there's a couple twigs in there or things that were in the bog that didn't get filtered out, and they sterilize it or reduce the amount of water in there. Now, does this work? Yes, but we have to always regulate it and add nutrients to it all the time. In real soil, we do not. We might have to fix it at first, but again, we always have to be working and controlling this and regulating this, and maybe once or twice that we have to help out our soil to come back to life with microorganisms, but it will eventually take care of itself on its own and recycle nutrients, and also give, and that's the point of this, is to give our plants nutrient-dense products. Now in here, you're not going to grow on certain varieties of plants or vegetables and other things, you're not going to get nutrient-dense food out of here no matter all the minerals you add into it. And I'll be explaining why through this garden series. So it's been over 24 hours. We're going to take a look at our jar in a little bit and also go a little bit further into the peat moss. Now, what I want to explain in this garden series is how everything works so much better in real soil compared to peat moss or other things like even compost. Now, the purpose of this is to grow nutrient-dense food and to have everything available that that plant needs that's never stressed out. Now, this is going to be using organic materials only. This is not anything to do with chemical usage whatsoever. Again, this is not a scientific test. I am not a scientist. I don't claim to be one. I'm just a organic farmer that wants to grow nutrient-dense vegetables. And I will tell you a secret. For years now, I don't think I've been doing it the correct way. So I'm learning something new that I wish to share with you. Did I have a great vegetable production? Sure. But I want to grow the best nutrient-dense fruits and vegetables possible so I can sell them to my customers and have a great feeling inside myself that I'm doing a fantastic job producing this and selling it and making a profit on it. And I just want to bring you along with this journey that I'm learning this, and I just wish to share this with you. Now again, I'm a big advocate of it's your garden, your soil, your land, your taxes, and whatever garden method you wish to do, that's fine. I am not here to change your mind whatsoever. I'm just here to share with you that what I'm doing on my journey to produce nutrient-dense fruits and vegetables. So I want to explain what went on. Now, we took that soil sample and we mixed it up very thoroughly and we broke everything apart. Now, when it's all in this water that's above here, the first thing that's going to fall to the bottom is our sand particles down here. Now, there's a very thin line right about here. I know it's hard to see. It's just right above the sand line right here. Now, all this from here up is our sand in my soil. Then I have my silt, and I have my clay on top, and over here is probably a mixture of silt and organic matter right here. But you can see the definitions of everything. So what soil really is, and what I've been taught, is that you have your sand, your silt, your organic matter, and your clay, which is the lightest particles on top. Now you think the lightest particles would move through, and they do eventually, but we suspended them in water, and that's why you see here, if I bring the camera out, that even after, it's probably been at least 30 hours, that the water is still not clear, and those clay particles are the smallest particles, and you can barely see them really technically when they're individuals. Now they're grouped together so you can see more of a matter of it or something like that. But if to the naked eye you could not see an individual clay particle. You can see a sand particle, silt you can see a little bit, but clay you cannot unless it's bunched together like it is here. And the purpose of showing all this to you is that these are, every single thing here is nutrients and minerals mixed together. Your clay is a mineral. Your organic matter will break down, and that will give you nutrients, of course, minerals. Everything is minerals in here, and it needs that soil food web to break this down further to feed your plant. And the other reason I'm showing this to you, because a lot of people say, Mark, I have nothing but sand in my soil. Just do this test. You might just barely see a very faint line that's not even this thick, just a very faint line of clay. You really can't see it until you mix it all up and then even try to do this test and see if there's even a faint line there. Every place on this planet, again, has always a mixture of sand, silt, and clay in it. Now, I know a lot of people are written in and says, you know, gee, I have just quartz in my ground, I just have this, I just have that, you know. Yes, you're seeing with the naked eye, but all these other particles are just so small, you don't need a lot of them, and that's what I'm going to explain. You really don't need a lot to grow vegetables. What you really need in the soil is, the biggest thing is a 1-to-1 ratio of bacteria and fungi growing together, living together in harmony, and that's what's going to give your plants the immune system and nutrient-dense vegetables. And that's what I'll be going over in the rest of this garden series, and giving you more and more information to show how beautiful all this has been working on our planet since day one. Now, I've said it so many times, and it's really very fascinating and always will be to me, because it really does work. And in part two, I want to introduce you to a person through a video that he has done, and he's a first-time generation farmer, and he has grown perfect corn that's not GMO corn, and it's regular field corn, old-fashioned field corn, during a drought, and has outcompeted his neighbors, and has never had added any amendments to the soil, no fertilizers, no pesticides, no herbicides, and he saved a ton of money doing this, and he had the most productive crop in that county. So I hope you come back and watch part two with me, and I thank you very much for your time. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, and please give me a big thumbs up. Like I said, it helps out my channel immensely. And again, we're on this journey together. I welcome all comments, even the negative ones. It doesn't matter, because all the comments enlightens me how you think and how you react to things. And again, I've been taught totally differently over the years, and I had to throw away all the information I once had to get better soil on my farm, my 22-acre farm, and have better nutrient-dense vegetables. Now, I made a mistake for years, and I wasn't growing it because I was pretty much just growing it in leaf mold, and that's not the answer. I have to grow, again, certain types of vegetables. You know, there's other types of vegetables that you can grow, and even in peat moss, that probably is going to give you nutrient-dense vegetables, but not all the vegetables out there can be grown in peat moss. A lot of them have to be grown in real natural soil, and have that whole soil food web working to make it perfect for them, have no stress, and to bring up every single one of those nutrients so they can feed us, and then we can be healthy also too. Enjoy, have a fantastic gardening season ahead of you, and I'll see you again shortly. Thanks for stopping by.